Hi there. I was asked by a friend to help repair their phone, an LG Escape 3, and I originally thought I found a video on how to do this. Looking a little further, it turns out the video was actually for the LG G3. I'm not even familiar with that phone, to be quite honest. So I thought, although I'm even all the way partway through the process, I'd watched quite a bit of the video already before realizing it was the incorrect video. So I'm already partway into the process, but I figured I would go ahead and make a video for anyone else who's tried to replace a screen on an LG Escape 3. I'm hoping this is a successful project. I'll let you know at the end. Maybe part of the reason to do this video is just to see, is it worth it to try and replace a screen on this particular phone. I already have a lot of this phone apart. I had to figure a few things out on my own. I'm not going to go through the disassembly right now, but we'll kind of go over it as I go back through the assembly. I am right now at the part of removing the screen. Here's my replacement screen right here. I just bought it off of Amazon. One thing that I did notice that was helpful is that to find the exact type of screen, there's a barcode here on the back that lists LG K373, and that's the screen that I got that matches that. So as far as getting this off, you basically have to just tear it off. It's a pretty nasty process. I've already gotten the back plate off and battery and back cover, but you basically just have to tear it off. It helps to use some heat, and I'm in the process. You can see it's lifted up there. I'm just kind of yanking it off, trying to be as careful as I can, trying to be careful to the components on the back side. And I'll let you know how it goes here. I'm going to stop the video and we'll start again when I'm ready to put the new screen on. So I wanted to go ahead and show you a little something as I was getting the screen off. This is definitely my least favorite part of all this. I hate having to break this off and the chances of damaging. The interesting thing I realized though is that I have been leaving the motherboard on here. I recommend taking it off. It turns out it's really not hard to get off once you're to this point, and you just have less chance of damaging any components. So I highly recommend that. Just something I discovered here as I was going through this. So we're just about off, and then we'll do a little bit of cleanup, and we'll start from there. Okay, I still don't have the screen off. I want to make another note. As I was taking this off, I got the the LCD out, but I realized that I actually put a little bit of bend in this plastic here. Definitely a mistake. So watch out for that. When I did it on the top, it took actually quite a bit of effort. You can see there's still some glass here on the top edge of this plastic frame, and I guess you just need to be careful to break it off. I've been using this X-Acto knife right here. It's not anything too special, but came in a kit of tools that I got. I'll put a link if I can on what tools I got that have worked for this. But I had to use that X-Acto knife a lot up here to kind of break it off piece by piece, and now I know that you need to do that here on the bottom too. You need to be very careful and break that glass off piece by piece off of this bottom part of the frame, so that you don't bend that as you're yanking on this glass. You don't bend the plastic frame. So I want to make mention of that. Alright, so we got this all cleaned off, and took off all the glue that was there on the edges and the glass pieces, got it all cleaned up, and so now we're ready to go ahead and put the screen on. I've chosen to use this glue right here, this E6000 glue. I honestly don't know if this is really the best glue for this, but I know it's a good glue, and just based off of the characteristics of the glue that I pulled off, it seems like something that this would probably be appropriate for. So this works good for glass, works good for plastics, and it's a slightly kind of a gooey type glue rather than like a hard glue like super glue, a little more flexible in nature. So we're gonna go ahead and give this a try, and I'll let you know how it goes. So good news that seemed to work really pretty well with that glue, and this looks like it's really fit on nicely. So right here, this is the plastic frame along with the new screen that's been placed. I haven't taken off the covers yet. I cleaned off a little bit of the glue that leaked out the edges, and it worked pretty well. And so we'll see. Since I didn't start this video with any information of the disassembly, since I was not starting, I didn't know I was going to do the video at that point. I'm going to go ahead and show you a little bit about the reassembly, and hopefully that'll be enough for you to figure out how to do the disassembly. So this is the motherboard. The motherboard just sits right on there. There are not any screws to hold this in, which is one of the surprises that I had that I mentioned earlier, where it really was not a hard thing to take the motherboard off. It just drops on there. The other part you have to watch for is this. This is the audio jack, and the audio jack fits right in this slot here. And I'm going to go ahead and put those together. Okay, that fit back together pretty well. Went pretty smoothly. Hardest part was getting this audio jack in. And then, of course, this is the new screen right here, and that plugs right into this little slot. So I'm going to very carefully put that in place. Almost lined up. It takes a moment, especially one-handed. I may need to turn the video off to do this. If I want to get it right, I may need to turn the video off. But I'll go ahead and show you the next step of the assembly process. The case right here is the next part to this. And this is just going to fit on. Now, one of the tricks that I found when I was watching the video about the disassembly, the replacement, screen replacement for the G3 phone, LG G3, it's a little misleading because I've even seen this on a lot of other phones. Usually there's kind of an outer frame that the screen sits in, so meaning this plastic frame actually kind of goes around outside the screen itself, and then this kind of has a little rim here that's actually would be a part of this, and this main frame right here kind of pops out. So that was a little bit different. One thing that took me a little while to figure out, because this is a little different. The motherboard and screen fit into this one rather than the frame kind of holding the motherboard and holding a plastic shell on the outside. So that goes in. I disassembled a few other things I probably didn't need to. I'll point those out to you right now. First of all, there's this little assembly right here. Based off of what I know now, I don't think this actually needs to come off. This just fits right in here. There was a little rubber piece here that sat on top of, I believe, is the microphone. But I don't think you need to mess with that. Additionally, I disassembled this camera cover and with the buttons right here, and I don't think that you need to do this. Really, a very little assembly. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble this case back onto here, and then we'll do another video just to show the final pieces and then see if it actually works. Okay, we are now back. Put this back case on, and I went ahead and put these two pieces that I removed to this bottom part right here that I had assembled needlessly, and the camera. I did want to mention, so there's a bunch of screws, and I'll show you those right now, but you do have to pull the screws out on both of those, because although you don't need to pull the actual plastic covers off, which just snap in there, the screws do go through, and you do need to pull those out to be able to take off this outer frame. Yeah, so screws, there are a number of screws. There's one up here, there, up here in the corner, one right here on the camera, And I think that's all of them. These are the only screws you have to take off. They're all the same type of screw, and so it's really not too bad. So I'll go ahead and do those. Outside of that, of course, you got your card. I'm slipping my mind. SIM card. And the battery sits in here. But outside of that, I mean, it's just, there's this outer cover that you pop off, that you pop off anytime you have to put in a SIM card or anything like that. So that's really about it as far as the disassembly. It's actually pretty simple disassembly. And so I'll go ahead and put all those back together, and then I'll turn the video back on to power it up and see if it works.